Guess what? I came to a conclusion. And the conclusion is that she is your co worker. She is not your friend. Let's say it again. She is your co worker. She is not your friend. What is a co worker? Someone who you work with, right? What is your friend? That is your friend. Two completely different people, two completely different things. Let me explain. I'm going to do my makeup while I explain. So, first and foremost, when you go to work, you're at work. It's a job. You're there to make money, make a living, make a way so that you can take care of yourself, so that you can take care of your family. You go to work to work. You don't go to work to make friends. Now, it's okay. Like, you're going to be there when you're at work. You're there for several hours out of the day, depending on whether you work part time or full time. Average, most people work about 8 hours a day on a full time shift. So some people do maybe 6 hours if they're part time. Some people do like 4 12-hour shifts, I think. So, but either way, you are there to work. Depending on what type of job that you have at that job, you might be really busy the whole time. So you may not have too much time to socialize, or you may have a job that, maybe sometimes you have those slow moments or slow periods where you do have time to socialize. So either way, I think that, of course, it's always good to socialize with your coworkers. It's nice to be friendly with them and be social and be nice and get to know them. But you need to really understand the difference between being friends and being friendly. Okay, it's okay to be friendly. I'm a very friendly person. I like to joke around and ha ha and kiki and have a good time. You might as well. I think that if you're at work and you're laughing and joking around with your coworkers, I think that helps the time to just fly by. So especially if you have that fun group of coworkers, I like to, a lot of jobs that I've had, there's always that one person that I look forward to seeing when I get to work. But that's where it ends, at work. I see them at work, but not outside of work. Let me say this: even if you do spend time with your coworkers outside of work, you must remember that you guys work at the same place. They are your coworker. So anything can happen with your relationship. And the last thing you want is for something to happen with your relationship with that coworker outside of work and it spills off into work. Because at the end of the day, that's your paycheck. That's your livelihood. If you're a parent, that's how you take care of your family. Even if you're not a parent, that's how you take care of yourself. So you really need to realize that it's a job, it's not a social club, right? So you have to remember that these people, they don't know you personally, right? So you can't even expect them to be loyal to you because all it takes is for you to say one thing or do one thing that they don't like, and off to the office to snitch on you, they go. And I know I have definitely dealt with that a lot of times at my last job that I had. They constantly went to the office to tell things on me. But I think with that job, at the time I did not realize it. But now, I had a lot of time to really think about a lot of the things that went on with that job. And being honest, when you're a woman of color and you're in a leadership position, it's hard for other people who are not of your color to understand that. So um, that's what I was dealing with. But all I know is every time I turned around, they was going to the office to complain about something. I remember I was I had used up all my vacation days and the vacation time starts over at the beginning of the year. So at the end of the year, they do a pool. And in this pool, you get to put in your request for a time off. And they do go by seniority. So I did request some time off and I was really excited about that because I really wanted to get me and my child's doctor's appointment scheduled and get some other things taken care of. So I did what I was supposed to do. I requested my time off the proper way, the way I'm supposed to. And while I was off of work, mind you, I was in leadership, I was a supervisor. And while I was off work, my coworkers kept reaching out to me. Why y'all reaching out to me and I'm off work? That was so annoying. So I remember there was a WhatsApp group chat, and the one snarky young girl, she messaged and said, called me out in the group chat. Mind you, I'm off work, I'm on vacation, and she said that there's a mandatory meeting. I don't give a damn about no mandatory meeting. I'm off. I don't give a damn about work. That place can burn the hell down. I do not care. If I'm not there, I'm not there. If I'm off work, I am off work. I do not care at all about anything that's going on. So when I got back to work, because I actually took an additional day off, but that's because it was around the time of the world illness, and during that time, they during that time when we had to go in and get imaging done on our body, you used to be able to just walk in, but the way that they did it, they made it so that you can't walk in, that you had to make an appointment. And so I had to take I took an additional day off so I could schedule an appointment for both me and my child to do a walk-in. We needed to get imaging done for two separate things. So I requested time off. So I get back to work, and I feel like my manager, he was very weak, because, and I think too, because he was the same ethnicity as, my coworkers, and we were not the same ethnicity. So they went to him and complained to him that, because I was off work, and that was around the time that everyone was returning back to the office. And so they literally had a meeting with me, and they wanted to call it that feedback. Feedback is super annoying, and they had like this really big um feedback type of culture where they really like focus a lot on giving each other feedback. But to me, it was too much. And let's be honest, y'all did not want to have that feedback meeting until I took that extra day off of work. But I took the day off of work in advance. Like you have to give, I think, is it 24 or 48? I don't work there anymore, but I gave the right amount of notice, because the system would not even allow me to take the time off if I didn't do it the right way. So I took my time off the right way, and I came back, and they were upset about it. What is y'all mad for? This don't even have anything to do with y'all. One thing about me, I make sure that my work is solid, that I did my work, and I don't like to leave anybody, like my backup. I don't like to leave anyone with too much to do while I'm out. I would rather do my stuff on my own. So and mind you, since I knew that I was taking off of work, I made a whole Excel file. Sure did. I made a whole Excel file for my coworker, letting her know who was on a corrective action, giving her everyone's phone number, letting her know who was all going on vacation, blah, blah, blah. I gave her all the information that she needed, because I knew that I did not want to be bothered, right? Still bothered me anyway. Still was messaging me anyway while I was off of work. Just realized I forgot to do my color correction, but it's okay. I'll still do it. But yeah. So then I told my coworker, when she texted me, I let her know. I made it very clear to her, like, I'm on vacation. Like I left. I said I left my backup with everything that she needed to know, right? So when I got back to work, I was very pissed off. I was very upset about the fact that my manager reached out to me and told me that a couple of people came to him and complained to him about me taking off work. Mind you, I had requested an additional day off for, I think, as a matter of fact, I think that additional day off was the extra day that I requested so that I can go to get our imaging done. I think that's what it was. It was a while ago, but I had an additional day that I requested for within the next couple of days, right? Mind you, we're all coming back to work. We're all coming back to the office. So they scheduled a meeting. And so, but what really upset me and was really annoying is that, like, the corporate entity, they have a way of trying to finesse you and to make you think that something is what is not, or they'll try to say things in a way to get you excited and make you think something's a great opportunity when it's not. So with this, they tried to make it seem like this meeting is for us to just make sure that we as leadership that we are all on the same page and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, they think they slick. They're only having that meeting because I took off of work. So I was very upset. My manager told me to make sure I go to the meeting or whatever. And mind you, this meeting was no HR. It was just all us supervisors, right? So I log into the meeting, and so the token she started off the meeting, and she asked who want to go first. Let me begin, since this meeting is about me. So I started, and I'm like, yeah, I found out that I guess apparently some people went to the manager to complain about me taking off of work. And I just want to let you guys know that my personal life, myself and my child is way more important to me than this job. And if I have something important that I need to do for myself and my child, I am going to do it regardless of how anybody feel, blah, 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 right? Girl, after I got done talking, it irritates me even now just thinking about it. So after I got done talking and saying my whole spiel about if I need to take off of work, I'm gonna take off of work, and I don't care how anybody feel about it. I took off of work the correct way. I did not, go against any policies or anything like that, right? So Token, right? The Token, I'm gonna just call her Token. So Token, she says, well, like I snapped on everybody. I low key did, but I didn't yell or anything. But I was very stern with what I was saying. You know how they is. They try to check us with our tone. So she said, well, wow, okay. So this is what we're gonna do. When we talk, we are going to use aid feedback. So, because this is a professional environment. So because this is a professional environment, we are gonna talk in aid feedback. Aid feedback, in case you don't know, that's action, impact, and do. So when you give someone feedback, you start with motivational feedback, and you give them action, impact, and do, and then you give them developmental feedback with action, impact, and do. So what you tell them is what they did, that's the action. Um, how it made you feel, that's the impact. And then what they need to do going forward, that's the do, right? So you say that, you soften it up with the motivational feedback, like, oh, yesterday, when we were at work, you helped me out. That really made me feel happy that you helped me out. Please help me out going forward. But I did notice that while you were helping me out, you were taking a long time to get done, and that did frustrate me. And so next time going forward, I don't mind you helping me, but can you speed it up? So that just was action, impact, and do, and it was motivational and developmental. I don't talk like that. Okay, so and in that instance, in that meeting, to be honest, I did not feel that it was necessary, right? So I was like, wow, here we go, the Token working hard for them people, but okay. So um after that, the meeting was basically them basically explaining how they were upset because I took off of work. And then, mind you, they tried to structure the meeting in a way like we are all giving each other feedback. No, no, they were giving each other fake feedback and ha and kikiing about it. And what really upset me is, okay, so this one girl, this other supervisor, I'm gonna call her Tulip. So Tulip, uh, she was saying how she worked so hard, and even she don't get to take time off, and it's not fair that I got to take time off, and she got so much stuff going on at home. And then she started crying. She cried. Pissed me the hell off. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest, pissed me off, because what is you crying for? What are you crying for? Anywho, okay, let me get back to my story. But that's how they do. They shed the tears. Nobody did aid feedback for the rest of that meeting. Nobody. But y'all want to try to tell me to give aid feedback. I'm not going to talk about, every single thing that was said, but my whole point is, from that moment on, I checked out. I checked out from the whole place. I said, oh, that's it. That it's time for me to start making steps, because ain't no way, like, that was wrong. But anyways, so going back to my point, those same people who were in that meeting, they were people who I was friendly with, who I was trying to build something with and grow with, but they just didn't like me. And to be honest, of course, I'm a nice person, and I have like a personal care business, and I make like beauty products. I don't have that. I still have the business legally, but I don't do it right now anymore. But during that time, I'm trying to like I'm giving them lip balms and lip glosses, and like some of the people who I was their supervisor, they got sick during the whole Pangea outbreak. So I would make them bath salts and drop it off at their homes and things like that. But I was just really checked out. And that right there, that whole meeting, that really helped me to confirm that they are not my friends. And some of the other supervisors who were in the meeting, they were kind of shocked about what happened. And so when we got back to work, three of them came to my desk and they were telling me like, wow, like what was that all about? Was that like a throw Rosie under the bus meeting? That's exactly what it was. Because that was just ridiculous. And to be honest, I just can't believe that my manager even approved of something like that happening. So, anyways, yes, that goes back to what I was just saying. These people are not your friends. They will throw you under the bus in a heartbeat. Seriously. So, never be friendly, but know that those people are not your friends, right? And to be honest, at a lot of jobs, especially those corporate jobs, people are looking out for themselves. Some people are. If someone do try to be your friend, they may be genuine. It's possible they could be a genuine person, but please keep in mind that they could also be trying to use you to push their own personal agenda as well. Some people might try to get close to you or get to know you or be cool with you just to find out information. Maybe about you personally, maybe about things at work, who knows. But people at jobs, they are really snakes, and a lot of times people are competing with you as well. I remember some years ago when I worked at McDonald's when I was a teen. I worked at McDonald's and I was training to be a manager. Right, there was two girls there who were competing with me. One of them, I literally trained her. She was an adult. She was older than me, but I literally trained her. Right, and she was mad, and people were coming to me telling me that she was talking crazy. And I know that they're not lying because of certain topics of conversation that were had. But basically, she was mad because they were training me to become a manager. And she would tell people when I'm not around, like, how are they training her? And I was here before her. Girl, do you have amnesia? I trained you. I trained you on the register. I trained you on a lot of stuff. So what do you mean? And then this other girl, she was in competition with me about how much we got paid per hour. And once again, I was working there longer than her. I was older than her. So she was in competition with me as well. And that's the thing. A lot of these people, they are at work. They're not your friends. They are not trying to be friends with you. Sometimes they want to pump you for information. They want to find things out. So, and that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of a job. It's called networking. When you get to know people because you have an agenda. Sometimes it's malicious, but sometimes, like me, I was upfront. I was really ambitious when I wanted to be a supervisor. I was really very ambitious and I was upfront about what I wanted. So when I was trying to get to know people, I came to them upfront and I let them know what I wanted. When I went to the manager's office, because I applied for supervisor like 5 times and I finally got it on the fifth time. But at one time when I didn't get the position, I was told it was because they didn't know me. I said, oh, Lord. So it's that corporate thing when you got to like, schmooze and, network with people and things like that. But I said, okay, cool. So that's what I did. I started going to the manager's office, talking to them, asking questions. One thing about me, I'm going to say what I got to say and do what I got to do to get what I want. And that's on period. And so that's what I did. So I had an agenda. But I made it clear what my agenda was. There wasn't no shame in my game. I wanted to be a supervisor. I wanted to make more money so I could be able to take better care of my child. So that's what my goal was, and I accomplished that. But that corporate thing is something else, because I feel like those people who I work with, they became enemies with me over a job. And what was crazy is like I didn't do anything wrong to them. And that was the first of two meetings that was had um with these people. Maybe I'll do another story time about the other meeting, because that's really not, what this conversation is about. But, just me realizing that these people are not my friends at all. So I decided, when there's things going on outside of work, when they want to do like team builders, and somebody's leaving and they want to have like dinner for them or something, I quit going. I'm not going. I'm not going. I started really focusing on sticking strictly to what's required within my position. If it's not required within my position, I'm not going. And I just do not care how y'all feel about it, because y'all already let me know how y'all feel about me anyways. Cool. Okay. That's fine. But I'm not about to break my neck and spend no more time with y'all than I have to. And that's just what it is, right? So, you have to be very careful. And another thing you need to be careful about is talking to these people about your personal business and your personal life. There's some things about myself that I don't consider too personal, so I don't mind talking about it, right? But you can't get too deep and too dark with your coworkers, because they could definitely use that against you. So, for example, let's say you're going through some type of mental, emotional thing, and maybe you had to get checked in at some point, right? To a clinic or something like that, right? Maybe you told a coworker, and you guys are both going up for the same position. Maybe you want to, be in leadership or something like that, and that person sees you as competition. Don't you know that person could try to take that and use that against you, or try to mention that even to higher leadership, like, oh, well, my mental health is okay, but I don't know about Allison's. So you have to really be careful about, talking about things. Even, I know sometimes we have those moments when we are vulnerable. Sometimes we have things going on at home, and it still bothers us while we're at work. But we really, really have to learn when to turn that stuff on and turn it off, because, like I said, these people, they are not your friends, and they will throw you all the way completely under the bus the first chance that they get. Please believe that. So you really cannot trust them, because the same way you check out emotionally, you know they do too. So don't even expect for them to even care about you once y'all clock out, and don't even want them to, like, keep your life there, and I'm gonna keep my life over here. And I knew they really didn't care for me, and it was very evident once I left. Because once I left, nobody called, nobody checked on me. And mind you, as leadership, when somebody leaves, you're supposed to call them and try to get them to come back. They did not try to get me to come back. I didn't care, because I knew I wasn't coming back anyways. But I'm gonna tell you just how, like, dirty they are. Because once I left, there were a few people that did check on me, but it was these people that checked on me. A few of them. The other people, you know how they checked on me? On TikTok. You know how on TikTok you can see, at the top of your page, you can see that somebody viewed your profile. They was checking me out on TikTok, and I screenshot it, because I like to have receipts. The same way I screenshot when my coworker was upset because I took off work to keep Passover. Yeah, I keep receipts. So I did screenshot it. But all those same people who were in those meetings and who were saying, like, they were upset and complaining about me, those same people, I clocked their teeth. They were on my TikTok watching my videos. They did not comment. They did not like anything, but they were definitely on my TikTok. But the ones who I actually, that I cared for, like when they were sick and I dropped them off stuff, and those real ones, they checked on me, and I definitely appreciate that. But I'm not mad about those, for about them not checking on me, because all that just let me know who's for me and who's not for me. Yeah, just make sure you remember that they will talk so bad about you. So don't be in there spreading all your business, telling everything that's going on between you and your husband, because office gossip is real, And you really don't want that. You really don't want to be the butt of gossip, especially if you plan on being in a leadership position. And that's another thing too. You have to be careful about being friends with people because positions change every day, right? So today, you and your coworker, you might be their team lead. You could be the team lead, right? And that same person who you was their team lead, they might turn around and become your supervisor. So that's just how quickly things change at work, and it changes a lot like that in the corporate setting. So you really have to be careful, And I'm so glad that I did that. That I was really careful about certain things that I said in certain conversations. Like I talked. Don't get me wrong, I talked a lot, but certain like deep and personal things I was really very careful about because I later even found out that especially if you're somebody in leadership, be careful about the people on your team who you lead because they definitely are not your friends. They are definitely against you and they definitely talk about you. And they have their own little powwows and conversations. They're upset with you about this, upset with you about that. And that's the nature of the beast. You have to have thick skin when you're in leadership. So, I didn't mind. I knew that certain, people who I was leading were against me, and that's fine. I honestly did not care. It's kind of sad because they don't know how much I tried to go to bat for them, but it is what it is. But just be careful because at work people can really spread your business, and if that's somewhere that you plan on working at for a long time, you really don't want that. Like you don't want your personal life to be just all out like that. There's certain things about myself that I talked about that I really didn't care that people knew, but personal things, be careful, right? Like I had coworkers that when I was a nursing assistant, I had a lot of jobs. When I was a nursing assistant, we used to go out, right? We used to go to the club. But that was years ago. And that same person, me and her are still friends today. So um that does not happen often. It does not happen often where, you still maintain relationships with ex coworkers. A lot of times you could be cool with somebody or a couple of people at work, but as soon as you don't work there anymore, you don't hear anything from them. They don't hear anything from you, and that's fine, But just know that happens. So I personally don't mind that at all, because, like I said, I already know we're not friends. So if if I don't work with you anymore, why did I just do that? And I put on some eyeshadow, so I don't know why I just blended that up like that. But yeah, don't expect to hear from people once you stop working at a job anymore. And to be honest, you don't need to hear from them. What you need to do is move on with your life. So, but yeah, people they have agendas. Some people are sneaky and they'll keep relationships with your management, and they'll be the main one snitching and telling things on you, and the manager would just be eating it all up and won't even let you know who it is that's dragging your name through the mud and throwing you under the bus. So you really need to be careful with that. And if you who are watching this, if you're someone who you love to go to bat against your coworkers for a job, please no, please trust and believe. Why are you sitting here breaking your neck for this place who all they do is give you a paycheck? They will drop you like a bad habit. If anything happens, if they need to do layoffs or anything like that, or if you get reported or whatever the case may be, please know. Please trust and believe this place, they will drop you like a bad habit and won't blink twice. So you really need to think about that. If you're somebody who you're always running to the manager and snitching about every little thing and making enemies with your coworkers over this job, they will drop you like a bad habit. They really will. So you really need to be careful of that. Why you sitting up making enemies with people and doing too much, being a work Karen, because there's always an at work Karen. While you doing all of that, You need to worry about yourself and mind your damn business. I'm gonna just be honest. So just know at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, that coworker is not going to ride or die for you like a real friend will. That relationship is transactional. It's only due to whatever y'all got going on at work. Be careful about bringing them into your homes, around your family, allowing them to see how you live. Because anything can happen at work, and the next thing you know, everybody know your business. Everybody know your husband's cheating on you. Everybody know that your kids are bad and whatever else. So you really have to be careful with those relationships. Like I said, be friends. Be friendly, but don't be friends. And be very careful. A lot of people, and I think that is mainly with women. It's mainly a woman thing. I think that I don't know, men might deal with it because a lot of men these days are sassy, but a lot of times this is with women. Women backstab one another. They don't trust one another, and you really don't want that, especially at the place where you earn your living. So just be careful. There's a lot of vipers out here, a lot of hateful, jealous people who don't want to see you make it. So yeah, be careful. She's your coworker. She's not your damn friend. So, sweetie, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, if you found them at work, leave them at work. And that's on period. So, I hope this helps someone. If it did, thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great day. Bye.